Hello everyone, my name is John and I'm a volunteer Christian Science Chaplain. In Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy, she writes, "The treatment of insanity is especially interesting." I had read that statement many times and had never had any significance to me until lately. Lately meaning that I got a contact call from the Secretary of the State Institutional Committee to visit a mental hospital in Sacramento and see an individual that was housed there. When I entered into the facility 2 or 3 days later, I was ushered into a room. And a few moments later, a very attractive young lady walked in, and we introduced ourselves, and she sat down very ill at ease. And so I began talking with her, telling her about God's love for her and how God loved her 24/7, that God's love was continually embracing her, and that whatever she was doing or wherever she was going or whatever she wanted to do, God's love was always embracing her. She could never be separated from God's love. All of a sudden, she stood up with her arms and hands in the air and started waving them back and forth and started to chant and rant and rave and swinging her arms and so on, just totally out of thought in what she was doing. But there was no doubt in her mind that there was another party in that room dictating her action and thoughts. And so while she was going on with all her ranting and raving, I was just seeing that divine mind, the one mind, was governing all. And that's what I was holding with. And I was just seeing through what she was displaying there. And I just was seeing that as a lie about herself, and that this was just pure illusion because she was not in control. God was in control. In several minutes, she sat down, and I said that I wanted her to relax because there were more things that I wanted to tell her. And she said, "No, I think I'm done now. I'm ready to go back." And I said, "No, there's more that I want to talk to you." And at that point, I was not going to let some mortal mind, material mind, separate from God, dictate this conversation. So we went on for another 30 or 40 minutes just talking about her spiritual identity, her innocence, our purity, our image and likeness of God as we read about in Genesis 1. And we just stayed with that for many, many more minutes. At the end, I thanked her for being there, and she got up and rather indifferently walked away. But toward the end, she started to relax and have eye contact with me, and at that point, I knew the healing was taking place. After 10 or 15 minutes, I left the room and walked out through one of the security doors and went through the second security door. And as it clicked shut and I was continuing to walk out, I heard a knock on the door that I had just gone through, and I turned around. And here was this young lady looking through this window that was in this steel door. And she was waving and smiling at me, and I smiled and waved back at her, and I left the facility. As it is my practice, when I do a one-on-one with an individual, I called back about 3 days later to see if I needed to follow up, and it came as no surprise to me that I was told that the doctors and the psychiatrists and the nurses had tested her the day after that I had been there, and they decided that she was ready to be released.